people using Facebook, you can start generating that sort of information in ways that other players can't, right?
Yeah, and if you think about it, it's not just about mobile when you talk about that kind of data. So back in April, we announced a couple of new products as part of this Open Graph, one of which many of you have seen is this like button. It's just a simple component, one line of code that you drop into any web page. And users can like content. You can like a business, you can like a movie, you can like a book. And all of that data is part of this Open Graph. It's actually universally available to anyone who wants access to that.
We have it on VentureBeat.
You have it on VentureBeat.
And
in fact, yesterday I actually liked VentureBeat using that plugin. So
nice.
Just one more user fee. But here's what's so interesting. It's not the 150 million users that are generating that content of recommendations, of personal affiliations, of personal preferences. It's the nearly 500 million users that are across Facebook that are generating that kind of content. That's what's so important. That's what's so compelling. And we feel that mobile is going to be a really great consumer of that recommendation.
Now, on the Starbucks example, you rightly said we've heard that anecdote for the last 3 years, right? You're standing in line at Starbucks. And when do you think that's going to actually happen?
Well, the beauty of this is that it can happen today.
So it can actually happen today. So Erick's the guy who's going to actually make that anecdote come true.
We're going to make the platform that allows anyone here to make that vision come true. Because the beauty of this is that that's just one example, right? I'm just picking on a classic location-based service example, which hasn't really come to fruition. You can think of all sorts of other examples around events, around purchasing behavior, around product recommendations. You're standing in the store and you're trying to figure out a gift for your dad's birthday. How often has anyone actually come into this problem of like trying to buy a gift for someone who has everything, right? Probably a bunch of people in this room, probably a bunch of your friends. How about you're standing in some store and you actually just ping the people on your phone, your network for recommendations, and within the span of a few minutes, you get your responses. That's the kind of experiences that we hope we can help enable, but from the Facebook perspective, providing you the tools to do so.
And now you worked at Google for a while on the Nexus One, so you're very familiar with what Google is doing, its cultural approach to mobile. And they are apparently building out a social network. And if you're looking at players who are competitive to Facebook and providing the sort of platform tools as opposed to an application, right? So you're talking now about something very significant that you're doing on the platform level. Google is probably one of the biggest competitors, right? So Apple obviously is a little more closed, a little more vertical. They're large, but how big of a jump on Google do you have? I mean, is it a year? Is it 2 years? I mean, can you talk a little bit about? Maybe that's an unfair question because it's hard to quantify whether Google will ever actually get a social network that is successful together. But let's talk about what you can do with that jump that you have, the lead time before the next player comes along to offer something similar. I don't even know who that would be. Who is the closest? I mean, you were at Facebook, at Google. Who would be the closest to be able to provide such a competing platform?
Yeah, like how you're trying to stir up some juicy gossip here. Look, it's
an honest question.
Yeah, it is. And in all honesty, from the Facebook perspective, we literally just focus on how we evolve our own roadmap. I mean, there's just so much that we need to do at the desktop level, but also specifically at the mobile level, to get to where we set our own vision, that we're not concerned about the rumors and about the gossip rumor mill and all that outside, because there's just so much more cut out for us. Our firm belief is that we've set our own internal really aggressive goals, our own really aggressive vision. And if we achieve that, then we think we're doing best by ourselves and also best to our users.
Okay. Great, I've got a couple more questions, but again, a reminder to everyone in the room that has now filled out, feel free to start thinking about questions. We're going to be taking them for 5-10 minutes here shortly. And Garrett's got a microphone there, and he'll run to you with the microphone. So now the phone, so let's go into this with a little more detail. The phone is pretty contextually aware already. It knows where you are, it knows your contacts, right? I mean, if you used a Google phone, you can see who's actually physically present, ready to chat with you on Android through Google Contacts and so on. You're obviously familiar with this. But let's talk about the next step in detail. Let's take the example of Looped. Looped is a social network that's been trying for years to hook you up with your friends, show you where your friends are on a map, right? And they have just recently incorporated some of the Open Graph tools to add Facebook's friends to your existing Loop friends in something called Loop Star. So Loop Star is actually already accessing some of this stuff on mobile. So that when you check into a place with maybe a certain number of your friends on your Facebook friends and Loop friends combined, you will actually maybe be able to get prizes. And so that's something they've already unveiled. What are some of the other things, and can we go into more detail? What can they do when your services and platforms fully rolled out? What can they do more than they're already doing?
Yeah, and actually Looped is a fantastic app there. I mean, as you know, one of the very original sort of friend-finding applications, and then some. I think what is really exciting to me when companies like Looped pick up the Open Graph functionality is that it's an indication of people adopting into the vision of what Facebook can deliver. The analogy that I'd like to draw in terms of like some of the more immediate benefits that Looped is probably seeing from their own end is to friend feed. So for those of you who remember from a couple of years ago, there was a small startup by a bunch of ex-Googlers. One of them was Brett Taylor. And they ventured out to create an aggregated friend stream, if you will. And they got to be known very quickly as a startup that like every week rolled out like 20 new features. And they just iterated really, really fast. But despite that, they were still fighting to win users, to actually get more users. FriendFeed just recently in the last year was then acquired by Facebook, but before that happened, Brett Taylor shared this story where he described how up until Facebook Connect, the company was basically fighting to get these additional users. The moment that they added Facebook Connect to their web page, where users could basically with one click sync down all their Facebook friends and invite them to their model, their new user ads jumped by 5x. And this is based on an already existing, very popular product. So, I think the same analogy holds for just about any mobile app out there. I mean, you name the most popular mobile apps out there, it's likely they don't have yet 150 million users, or nearly 500 million users. But if you connect with Facebook and you tap into this social utility, you tap into this platform, all that becomes available to you with just a simple line of code. And I think that's very compelling for startups and for any mobile